Hello everyone. This video today is going to be in two parts. This first part I'm filming a few days before I go to the doctor, my primary care physician. This part is just going to be my telling you how things are going with my ankle and how my ankle is doing here at basically 1 year after my injury. And then I'm going to come back either the day I go to the doctor or the next day and talk to you about how that went and what she and I talked about and anything she was able to tell me. The first thing I need to say about my ankle is if we go back sometime in one of my earliest videos in this series about my injury, I had read something that said that you know that the ankle is healed when there's no more pain and no more swelling. Okay, well, the first thing I'm going to tell you is I'm in pain all the time. I'm in pain even when I'm sleeping. I'm always in pain. It always hurts. It just sometimes it hurts more than other times. The pain is mild enough most of the time that I've pretty much just gotten used to it and accepted it and just deal with it. I don't actually take any pain medicine at all because it doesn't do anything. I might take a little bit of ibuprofen if I've had to be walking around a lot and it's also swelling pretty bad. That's like the only time I'll take anything because otherwise it really just doesn't make any difference. Okay, the three main problems with my ankle remain the same, and I've been talking about this consistently for quite a while. It's very difficult to walk downstairs. It's very difficult to walk at all, and driving is very hard. The other thing I've noticed more recently, and I don't know if I just wasn't paying attention, is it's also become very difficult to stand. Like having to stand still is really painful and I just can't stand it and I need to either move or sit down. Okay, but with those three things that have been problematic for quite a while now, I'm going to tell you something about each of them. The most painful thing is driving. Driving is very painful. And I think that's because of that compression of having to push my foot against the pedals, against the gas pedal and the brake pedal. And like I talked about in my day in the life video, which I'll link up here, that I made recently, holding the brake pedal is so unbearably painful that I cannot hold the brake pedal for more than a second or two with my right foot. I have to switch and hold the brake pedal with my left foot. I do not feel comfortable or safe enough to do the two-footed driving like my father has suggested several times. I don't think that's safe from a reaction time standpoint. I just don't have enough training driving that way. I'm afraid I would run into somebody in front of me. And so I only after I've stopped the car with my right foot then and know that I'm going to have to be sitting there with my foot on the brake for a while, then I will switch and put my left foot on the brake and then take my right foot off of it. So I'm still trying to be very safe. I just also don't want to be in pain. So that pushing motion is definitely the hardest thing. And I think that also relates to the pain I get with standing and also with having to carry anything heavy, which I talked about in that video too. If I have to carry anything sizable, a laundry basket, a suitcase, even a stack of books from the library, it really hurts my ankle. And that seems weird, but I think it's the added weight is pushing and compressing my ankle somehow. So that's definitely the most painful is driving. And because of that, I do not drive unless it's absolutely necessary. I can manage if we go to the cities, but when we went to Chicago in March, that was really tough on my ankle from a driving perspective, especially because we hit so much traffic in and around Chicago and I had to brake so much. And I wouldn't want to go that far again. I wouldn't want to drive that far. And so like the driving I did last year in 2020 before I got injured, when we drove to Mackinac Island in Michigan and when I drove all the way to Colorado and back, I could never do that now. That'd be unbearable. So that's really limiting me, obviously, in my life, in my ability to be able to drive. I did do quite a bit of driving in June and August when we drove and we took our 2 trips out east, but I'm going to come back to that because I kind of felt like it was a little better then. So hold that thought. The most difficult thing is walking downstairs. Walking downstairs it's like a challenge for my brain and my body and my nervous system. And I almost feel like it's like I've lost coordination. It's also a pain and strength thing almost. Like my ankle physically can't hold me sometimes when I try to go every other step. And I talked about this in an earlier video, but the time it takes to swing the left foot from the step behind down to the next step below, that the weight all has to be on that right ankle is too long. And it's like it can't hold me that long for that motion. And so I have to do the thing like I showed you where I step down first with the right foot and then I step the left foot. And then the right one has to go first, which seems weird, but that's how it is. I have to step the right one first. Same thing if I step off a curb. I have to put the right one down first and then the left one real quick. When I am able, there's every once in a while, there's a day or a moment where I come down the stairs where I just feel normal for a minute and I can just walk down normally. And Megan's even recognized when it's happened because she can hear it different in how I come down the stairs. But I have no idea why every once in a while it's okay. And the rest of the time it's not. I don't know why. And it's definitely like something with my legs and my hips is still very screwy. Like, I mean, you go a whole year not being able to walk downstairs the normal way, and it's like your body forgets how to do it or something. But that's very frustrating because I live in a house full of stairs. And so that's very limiting because I literally avoid the stairs. And so that means two things for me in my house. Once I'm done with my stuff upstairs for the day, I really don't want to have to go upstairs for any reason until I go to bed at night because it's just too much work to come back down. And I want to avoid it if at all possible. And so unlike before I got injured, when I might go upstairs multiple times a day and do things, I really am only up there, for sleeping when I first get up in the morning and then when we go to bed at night. And unless I absolutely have to, I don't want to come back down again or go up during the day. And so sometimes like I'll forget about things that I needed to do up there. And then I go to bed at night and I'm like, oh shoot, I never put the laundry away. Or, oh, I never did this. And so things upstairs kind of get neglected because it's too much of a pain for me to have to go upstairs. And then the other thing is there's stairs to get out of our house. You cannot get in and out of our house without going up and down steps. And so I pretty much am confined to the house. I don't leave the house unless it's absolutely necessary because I don't want to have to go down the steps to get out because it's painful and difficult. So that's very confining and isolating. And then the most frustrating thing is the walking. I really feel like the walking thing has ruined my life. It literally has. I've always been a very fast walking, very active person. I walk a lot and I've always been a very fast, smooth walker. And I love walking. And how Megan takes her walks every day and sometimes Ben goes for walks. I did that. I started that. I was the one that was the daily walker. And I can't do that anymore. And it's literally caused, I would say, pretty severe depression for me. It's definitely significantly affected my mental health because I can't do that anymore. I've tried. I mean, I can do it, but I have to walk so slow and so carefully and such a much shorter distance than I would have before that it's not worth it to me. It just bums me out and it makes my ankle hurt and swell. And so I don't see the point of it. I can't walk at the pace I want to walk. I can't walk the distance I want to walk. I'm not getting any exercise benefit from it. That's been just devastating because the combination of those things, not being able to walk, not being able to stand, not being able to go downstairs, not being able to drive. I mean, it's not that I can't do them, but you have to understand, I can't do them normally and I can't do them like I was before. It's nothing like I was before. The difference in my body, in my physical capabilities and my mobility is night and day I understand it could be way, way worse. I could not be able to walk or stand up at all. I understand that. Like it was at the beginning when I first got hurt. But the difference for me personally from how I was before I got injured, how I am now, is completely different, and it's horrible for me. How I say it's like ruined my life is because I can't, there's like almost any job I can think of, I can't do it. I wouldn't be able to do it. The expectation of me, I could not meet it. So that's a problem from a financial standpoint. Traveling is what I really want to do. The thing I want most to do in my life from now until the end of my life is travel as much as possible. I traveled a lot more when I was younger and in my 20s, and in my 30s and 40s, I have not traveled as much as I did when I, was younger, before I got married, basically. And I'm very sad and disappointed about that. And I want to do much, much more traveling, much more frequent traveling, and a lot of different kinds of traveling. The pandemic has messed this up too, but so much of traveling involves walking. I'm picturing like all these European cities I want to be able to explore, and all of the, going down steps into subways and going down steps in museums and cathedrals and palaces and lighthouses and all these places. There's steps. Walking up and down around a cruise ship. There's so much walking and so many stairs involved in traveling. When I think about it now, I just want to cry because I'm like, how am I going to be able to do that? I just feel so limited. I feel so limited, and like my life has changed so much, and it's very upsetting. Okay, so here's the thing about the ankle progress. Over the summer, it was okay. I felt like I was like, maybe it was slightly improving a little bit. I don't know. But in the past few months, I actually feel like it's getting worse. And I don't know what to make of that. It's been more painful and more difficult this fall than it was over the summer. Or I was just more pushing through the pain I don't know. I absolutely do not want to go back to the podiatrist, to the foot and ankle doctor that I went to before. I don't have any confidence in him, and I'm very upset about the care he gave me and his lack of thoroughness, his lack of taking me seriously. At my first visit, he was very dismissive. He was inconsistent. Like, he'd say, okay, on your next visit, we're going to do this. And then at the next visit, he didn't do that. And that happened like 3 times. And on my last visit with him, he actually physically hurt me and caused me to be in such severe pain for like 3 days that I was up all night crying because I was in such severe pain because he actually did something to my ankle wrong when he was playing around with it. And so I will not go back to him. But now I'm scared. I'm scared to go to another doctor because I'm afraid they're going to be like that too. And I don't want them to touch it and mess around with it. And I don't know how to find somebody good who's going to be kind and compassionate and gentle. I know this is an overgeneralization, but I just kind of feel like with surgeons, a lot of times they can be kind of, I'm all that. There's a lot of ego going on there because they can do this wonderful, miraculous, amazing thing. And yes, that's true. But sometimes I feel like, not all the time, obviously. The ENT surgeon who Ben had to have some surgeries when he was little was a very, very sweet, nice man. He's retired now, unfortunately, and was terrific. But a lot of surgeons sometimes, hopefully you know what I mean, don't have the greatest bedside manner, I guess. And I'm just a little bit afraid of running into that with anybody else that I go to. He just never really gave me any good guidance, and he never saw me any place but sitting on the examination table thing or the examination chair. I was always sitting there when he came into the room, and I would still be sitting up on it when he left. So he never saw me walk. He never saw me stand. He never saw me drive. He never saw me try to go down steps. So he doesn't have any clue what this has been like for me. And he never really asked me about it. And he didn't really let me talk. I don't know. I just was very unhappy with my care with that doctor. So I want to go to my doctor and tell her basically all the things I just told you guys and see what she thinks, because I really feel like I don't think this is going to get better. I really don't. I have not seen any improvement. There was improvement at the very beginning, which I would say was probably the bones healing, because both ankles were fractured. So the bone healed. I'm sure that's true. And then that initial injury stuff, your body's bruised and swollen and, all of that. I'm sure that all healed, if you will. But as far as the torn ligaments in my right ankle, and as far as the overall function of the right ankle and it going back to what it was before I got injured, I am to the point, it's been a year, and I don't see any improvement in that. And so I am having a very hard time believing that it's ever going to go back to the way it was before. Because of that, and because of what I just described to you, I feel like I should qualify for disability, but again, I'm very confused about what the deal is with disability, and so I don't know. That's why I'm going to my doctor to talk to her about that, and hopefully she can give me some more insight, and I will add on to this video after I meet with her. Hello again. It is Tuesday, November 30th, 2021. It's about 10:45 right now. I'm pretty upset right now. I had an appointment this morning at 9:15 with my primary care doctor. Basically, I just wanted to update her on my ankle and talk to her and ask her some questions about filing for disability. My hope was that she would have some other patients with disability who claim disability benefits and would know more about it and would be able to give me some guidance. The other thing that I was really hoping for from her would be that she would agree with me that it would make sense for me to file for disability so that I would have a doctor who would back me up that I need this, that I'm disabled. I didn't sleep well at all last night, and so I was already tired, but I got up early and I got all ready. I got there between 9:05 and 9:10. I got checked in right away. This is basically like why I don't want to go to the doctor right now, okay? I had my KN95 mask on and my goggles to protect my eyes. You check in at a front desk and then you go to there's two different waiting rooms, one for like adults and one for like the pediatric part. That's not all that's there, but anyway. And I went to the waiting room, and when I first got to the waiting room, I was the only one there. And so I sat quite close to the door where you go into, where the nurse comes and takes you in to go see the doctor. Well, after a couple minutes, two men came in and sat down right next to me. And neither one of them had their mask on right. They both had their masks down under their noses, and they were literally like 2 feet away from me. And so I got up and moved. I got up and moved all the way to the other side of the waiting room, completely on the opposite side, away from the door where you go back to see the doctor. And then I was waiting and waiting. And then after another few minutes, these two adult women and two little girls that were like, I don't know, like around 8 or 9, came out. Both women, again, masks under their nose, and neither child had a mask on at all. No mask in sight anywhere. The ironic thing is, I think they had just gotten vaccinated, because I heard the moms, I guess, making the appointment for the next shot in 3 weeks. And the girls were like rubbing their arms and looking at their Band-Aids on their arms. But they each had like a thing of goldfish that they give the kids when they get shots. And they were running. So they have no masks on. They're talking to each other loudly. They were running all over the whole waiting room, eating their goldfish, dropping them on the floor, laying on the chairs, like laying and sticking their feet up, and just absolutely completely out of control. Okay. There were so many things wrong with, I was just like, literally, I wanted to leave the room. I was so uncomfortable. Because number one, it's a pandemic and they're not masked. The shot doesn't make you instantly, that's not how it works, okay? And where were their masks, and why was the staff not saying anything to them? Masks are required inside the clinic. And secondly, what the heck with the behavior? Watch your kid. Don't let him run all over the waiting room and throw goldfish crackers everywhere. And I mean, what the heck? So I was very annoyed by that. And thankfully, while they were still traipsing about, the nurse came and called for me. And I, as best I can with my bad ankle, basically limp ran to go in back where the doctor was. She's like, how are you doing today? And I said, not good, because there are unmasked children in the waiting room. And she's like, oh. And she was very alarmed. And she goes, oh, you should have said something to somebody. Well, who was I supposed to say something to? Because between me and the people at the desk were the two women who apparently were the moms or whatever of these little girls, with their masks not on properly. So I couldn't get to anyone to say anything to anyone. She was obviously like not happy about that. And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. But so that made me uncomfortable. So I'd already spent like 15 minutes in a waiting room, in a closed room with no windows, completely enclosed, with a whole bunch of people not properly masked. So I was already anxious about that. And then she weighed me. She took my height. She took me back to the farthest examination room. So I have to limp all the way down there. And then she took my blood pressure, my pulse, and then she asked me all the questions, went through all my medications and all that. And I really wanted to get past the nurse as quickly as possible and just get to the doctor, because it was the doctor I really wanted to talk to. But the nurse asked me like 10,000 questions. And I probably spent 10 minutes with the nurse. And she's very nice, but I'm like, I don't want to have to say all this stuff twice. She's asking me all these things about my ankle, and I'm like, I just want to tell the doctor so that I don't have to repeat myself. And they do that all the time, and I find that so annoying. Just the nurse should get like the general idea, and then let the doctor get the specifics, because they're the one that's going to be telling me what to do. So that really irks me. So anyway, and then she's like, okay, she's in with the person before you, and it should be any time now. I waited until 10:20 in that little tiny examination room before I gave up and got up and walked out. Because I was like, you've got to be kidding me. This is ridiculous. So I was waiting in the examination room 45 minutes, and it was over an hour past my appointment time. So I had been at the clinic a total of like an hour and 10 minutes and never got to see the doctor. I wasn't comfortable sitting there that long, and I was like getting really like, what the heck? And really frustrated, like, why isn't she coming? Nobody ever came in to check on me. Nobody ever came in to update me like, oh, it'll just be a few more minutes or nothing. I sat alone in that room for like 45 minutes. So I got up and I just walked out, because I'm like, this is ridiculous. I have no idea how much longer it's going to be. I thought that by scheduling an appointment pretty early in the morning, she'd have maybe 1-2 appointments before me. She shouldn't be behind already, but apparently not. So I didn't get to get any of my questions answered. I didn't get to find out anything or talk to her or anything. And I'm really upset. So when I got back out to the receptionist, I stopped and I said, I told her my name, and I was supposed to see this doctor, and I've been waiting. My appointment was over an hour ago, and I still haven't seen the doctor, and I have to go. And she's like, oh, okay. And she didn't really know what to do. And then the nurse came running out and says, Heather, wait, she's going to be in there really soon. And I'm sorry, but I didn't believe her. And so I just shook my head and turned and walked away, because I just think that's so unprofessional. I know that doctors are busy, but you make an appointment so that we have lives too. Overall, I'm just really disappointed and unhappy with the medical care that I've received, with a couple exceptions. The medical care I've received during the pandemic, I'm really not happy about, especially when it comes to my injury. I feel like it's not a priority for them at all or anything. I don't know what's going on. Is this like happening everywhere? Is this just this clinic? I don't know what to think. The exceptions, I guess, were the urgent care staff, doctor and nurse that I saw the day I got hurt were very, very nice and made me feel like they cared about what was happening to me. And I felt like we're doing a good job. And then my kidney doctor, he was the same as he always is, which is he's a great doctor. He's a urologist. That's it. Otherwise, I've been really upset. And Megan started seeing my family doctor just this year. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she switched up from pediatrics to adult care. We love my doctor. She's a very, very nice person. But she listened to Megan tell her about all these concerns she had and didn't tell her anything. And Megan was really frustrated. She's like, she didn't tell me anything to do. She didn't help me at all. And so I don't know what's going on with this. And
she basically just had, literally all she did was listen. For all I know, one of those concerns I had could have been, I'm seriously diseased and going to die in 3 months.
Right.
She didn't care.
Yeah. She's a great listener. And apparently that's why she's behind all the time, is because she spends 50 hours listening to every patient. But she doesn't do anything for them. She doesn't tell us anything to do. And that's kind of the same way it was with the foot and ankle doctor. He never gave me any guidance. He never told me, do this, don't do this. This is how long, he never told me anything specific. And they don't answer our questions. We ask questions and they don't answer us. And so I don't know if this is just bad luck with these doctors, or if it's something with this clinic system, or this is how healthcare is today. Is it? Can somebody tell me? I don't know what to think. And I'm kind of to the point now where I am really seriously considering changing clinics. We're not getting the care that we need, and we're not getting our questions answered. And now I really don't know what to do about my ankle. Again, I'm going to plead with you guys. If anybody knows anything about filing for disability, explaining it to the nurse, she didn't know anything either. I was telling her how I read that if you're 18 to 49, then it's this, but if you're over 50, it's this. And so I don't know if that matters for when I try to file. I don't know if I even qualify. I'm just really sick of wasting time and energy if I'm not going to accomplish anything. It would really help me a lot to get disability benefits, and I really do think I need them because I really do feel that I am disabled. I'm certainly not abled the way I was before, but I don't know what to do, and I don't have any guidance or anyone to help me. So I'm really frustrated. So that is my 12-month update. Basically, there's been no progress in my ankle. I am kind of doctorless, and I don't know what to do next. So I'm very frustrated. I'm in pain all the time. I can't do a lot. I can't, I can't sit, stand, walk, drive, go down steps, sit on the floor. I mean, right now, even sitting is a problem. I don't know what to do with my foot when I sit. While I was sitting there in the waiting room all that time, I finally ended up turning and putting my foot up on the other chair because it hurts so bad just to have it on the floor even. Because if I have it out with my heel, like just sitting on my heel, then the one part of the ankle doesn't hurt, but then the front where it touches my foot hurts. But if I sit it straight like you're sitting at a desk with it flat on the floor, then the back part of the ankle hurts. I've been having so much trouble sitting lately because I can't figure out where to put my foot so I'm not in pain. If anybody has any guidance or tips or advice on what you think I should do, or any suggestions or any knowledge about disability and filing for it or whatever, please leave it in the comments below. I'm kind of lost and I don't know what to think. I mean, at this point, I feel like this is how I'm just going to be for the rest of my life. It's hard to believe that it's going to heal. It's been a year and I haven't seen any progress or change in my ankle in probably at least 9 months, other than the initial healing from the initial injury. And if anything, I feel like in the last 2-3 months, it's gotten worse. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. Please be sure you're subscribed to the channel in case I give you any updates in the future. I don't know. So you don't miss any updates. And have a great day, everyone. Safe travels.